I have a serious and sincere question. When is our society going to recover from its current condition? Our society at the moment is a disgusting, feminized, weak mess. And that's the truth. I am sick and tired of things not working properly, systems not working. I'm sick and tired of seeing the degradation of our society, and it's got to be finished. It's got to be stopped. I know precisely who is behind the intentional degradation of our society, but I can't say who it is, because if I do, then I would just get gagged. So I have to leave the research factor open to those whom I'm speaking to, those who would choose to try to figure out what's going on. Once you figure out what's going on, everything changes. Once you know exactly what's going on, you can't unknow it. There's no longer any questions. I mean, it pays to keep looking, keep asking, but you get to the point where it is so clear what's going on that you don't need to ask any more questions. The only question you need to ask really is of yourself. What am I going to do about it? Because no one else is going to come along and fix it. And that moment where a person accepts that responsibility for fixing the problem is the beginning of a journey for a person. You might call it an awakening, because the society we were raised in, and I can speak, I think, on behalf of any what we call Western society, was designed so as to keep the average person stupid, dumb, and distracted. And what happens is, due to the human condition being quite broad in terms of the spread of intellect, i.e., not everyone is stupid and not everyone is controllable, you get people who actually do think for themselves and who stumble across the truth. And those people feel a responsibility, usually, for sharing that truth with others. Now, you've got to be very cautious when you accept what someone else is saying, when they say, oh, this is the truth. You are responsible for analyzing what they say and measuring whether or not you believe it. However, you can't be responsible for researching every single microscopic detail, which is where trust comes in, and honor, and a man's word. People can come across as very convincing. And I'll tell you now, no one's perfect. But you just have to develop an understanding of people and of reality. You have to develop an understanding of what seems likely. What's that person's motivation? What's my motivation, for example? I don't have masses of resources to throw at this problem, but I feel deeply about it. I feel responsible. And I think that to be a proper citizen of a country, you have to bear responsibility for that country when that country is in trouble. And our country, and I'm speaking about the United Kingdom now, is in trouble. Our media is just about wholly and completely under the control of the very people who have hijacked our country. It's not in your face, but it's there. And if you're switched on and you look for it, you'll see it. If you've got half a brain, you can see the amount of propaganda that's stuffed into people's faces through our own media. And some people get scared, they get afraid, and they actually start clinging on to some of the debris that is fed to them through our corrupted, completely controlled media, because they don't know what to cling to, because they get afraid, they get scared. And part of the solution to this problem that we have is to evict the particular group of people who are in a massively overarching, controlling position in our media from the media. And it's not just the TV. It's publishing, it's newspapers, it's any aspect of our media. It's almost completely and utterly controlled by these people. And they've also set up false opposition media, which they call the alternative. Yeah, they would call it the alt-right or whatever. Because people are wising up. So they want to capture those people who have wisened up. But even beyond that, they can't capture those who sincerely use their own brains for their own thinking. The problem is that too many people are raised to search for the answers outside of themselves. When the truth is, if you get a whiff of something being not quite right, if you actually apply your own brain, your own mind, you can pretty much figure out and deduce what's going on. And you should only use the information available to check your own workings, so to speak. Remember when you were doing a maths problem at school, and you had to demonstrate your own workings to prove that you were able to come to the solution yourself. And yes, maybe at some point during your maths studies you can then check your answer. But you must do the working first. So don't rely upon other people's media, even mine, to do your thinking for you. Don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. Take hints and go and do a little bit of your own research and your own thinking. Because even if you research, the problem is a lot of the information nowadays is corrupted and blackened and messed with. And the water is muddied so much that it's hard to see from what's available, what's really going on. You have to really sit down and give it some good thought. Say, well, hang on, this doesn't quite add up. This doesn't quite add up. What is probable? What's possible and what's probable? What is impossible? Okay, this is how you practice what they call deductive reasoning. You start off eliminating what's impossible. And so you work backwards from that. And if you practice this enough, you get to the point where you're very, very good at deducing what's most likely going on. And then you can check. Only after you've done all the work of reducing the question to, reducing the answer to the question as much as you can by filtering out everything which cannot be. Not stuff that you find distasteful, not stuff that you don't want to listen to, stuff which cannot be. You have to be very impartial in order to practice this kind of deductive reasoning. And when you're left with something which you might find distasteful, but is probably the only thing that it could possibly be, even though it's distasteful and it might not even sound like it's practicable, if you go and check it out, and you've done your work properly, you will be surprised at how many times you've actually found the answer. And these people don't want you to do that. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want to say, no, look over here at the nice fluffy answer we've got for you. If you want to find the truth, and you must find it for yourself, it's not the fluffy thing in front of you. Because if you lift that fluffy thing up, you'll find it's full of nasty, horrible lies. But it's up to you to do the filtering. So all I can do is encourage you to think for yourselves. It's very important for you to think for yourselves. Like, I've got to make shorter videos now because anything over 10 minutes apparently just pretty much gets ignored. So I'll try and make a part 2 to this video.